Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is the Anime Man. Now, I rarely ever go on topic about a single anime series, let alone a currently airing single anime series, and hell, even before I've included it in a seasonal roundup video. Because let's be real, those things take fucking forever to make. But I want to do something today that I don't often do on this channel, but I want to start implementing more of into this channel, and that's to talk about a single anime series. While it's very rare for me to dedicate an entire video to one anime series, it's also very rare for me to get this excited about a single anime series. Count how many times I've already said anime series in this fucking video already. So I think to kickstart this special treatment to the channel, I would talk about this particular series. Because literally nobody is talking about this goddamn anime on YouTube, and I do not understand why. Because I believe it is single-handedly not only the best anime of the currently airing season, but it's also a personal candidate for me as anime of the year. So today I'm going to be talking about Seikai no Kado, better known as Kado, the right answer. Now, I know what you're thinking. You gotta be shitting me, right? This is anime of the season? Joey, are you high? Well, I can tell you immediately that this anime is absolutely not for every anime watcher out there. If anything, the show is extremely dialogue heavy with little to no action. Unless you count action as this shot of a tank shooting a bullet into a giant shape-shifting cube from outer space. Then you're probably best to skip over this series after you've found out the true definition to the word action in anime. But what I think makes Kado the right answer brilliant is the way that story combines with animation. Now you might be thinking, Joey, but it's 3D animation! It's the bane of all modern anime! Nobody likes this shit! Get out of here! Look, I'll be lying if I said the 3D animation didn't take even a little bit of getting used to the first time it jumped into my eyeballs. And many of you know that I have a ruthless past of shitting on almost every single 3D based anime to come out in the last decade or so. But the story that followed blew the supposed problematic animation out of the fucking water. And if anything, actually made the 3D animation better than if the show had been using 2D animation. The biggest problem I've always seen with 3D anime is when it is used specifically in fighting scenes. Fast-paced action accompanied with detailed movements of characters, weapons, backgrounds, particle effects. So many minute changes need to be carefully made in order for these 3D models to flow smoothly and to not make it seem like the whole thing was rendered out in 4 frames a fucking second. But what makes Kado's 3D work is not only the lack of fast-paced action, but also the visual techniques Toei Animation decided to use when setting up the story. The series heavily uses this giant fucking cube, which we later find out is the titular Kado itself, to establish a lot of the shots seen in the anime. The way the inside and the outside of the cube morphs and shapeshifts in an otherworldly, technologically superior way, in conjunction to the rest of the more natural Earth-based settings and characters around it, makes the use of full 3D animation almost compulsory. No matter which studio decides to take over this story, they'll ultimately need to use at least some level of CG in order to get the same visual effect, as current boundaries of 2D animation lacks in creating this same otherworldly vibe. And God forbid if combining 2D with 3D animation is ever a good fucking idea. I think this whole idea of the limitations of 2D animation is a very appropriate and also weirdly beautifully meta idea. Especially coming from this particular anime, which deals simply with the question of if an alien, slightly bishy at that, from another dimension came down and handed us technology which will ultimately advance all of humankind as we know it, how would our modern society handle it? You can almost think of it as an anime adaptation of a giant global scaled reaction video. Humankind reacts to unlimited energy device. Gone political. 100% real. Yeah, never mind. Sounds like a shit video. It's a weirdly deep and extremely unique concept we've seen in anime thus far, as most other comparisons to such a narrative device can only be seen in live-action sci-fi films like K-Pax and Arrival. And weirdly enough, it's one of those anime series which I dare say is not even necessary for it to be an anime. Like, some talented director out there could have taken this whole plot concept and turned it into a live-action film or even a visual or non-visual novel. And if adapted right for that medium, probably would have worked just as well. In all honesty, the animation is the last thing you should be paying attention to in this anime, which I agree might be almost counterintuitive since anime is a mostly visual-based entertainment medium, but I was so invested in this story and the rather likable and personal characters that I completely forgot and lost all the fucks I had about the anime being 3D, which I can only say is the result of having such an intriguing and well-constructed narrative. I think what makes this anime adaptation so strong is the use of 3D animation, which I've seen so many people criticize and shit on up until this point. Like, seriously, if you look at it closely, it's honestly not even that bad. I mean, let's just rejoice in the fact that it doesn't have Berserk 2016 levels of 3D animation, because we all know how much of a fucking atrocity to our visual senses that was. This anime is intensely thought-provoking in a humanistic, existential way. And the way it tackles these themes in a very mature, and in this case, horrifically, extremely realistic way, gives the anime a lot of charm for those who especially seek anime series which provoke thought and internal discussion. And it certainly helps that the entire cast is an array of adults. Nonetheless, those working in a more governmental organization of sorts, rather than your anime typical bunch of zany high school kids who just so happen to get caught up in these wacky set of circumstances. Uh-oh. And the way that at the end of it all, the quote-unquote villain of this show changes depending on how you personally view the many morals presented throughout this show, which makes for, I say, a very nice discussion-based anime amongst your fellow weeb comrades. It's kind of sad to see that this anime isn't getting as much critical reception from the community as other shows running this season, because Kado the Right Answer is one of those anime series that really shows you just how powerful and engaging good storytelling is in anime, regardless of whether it has shitty visuals or maybe no visuals at all. Not to mention the opening, ending, and entire soundtrack and audio design is beautifully crafted and absolutely perfect for the theme and mood of this entire anime. Am I saying Kado the Right Answer is a perfect anime? Absolutely not. My only criticism is that the characters are kinda janky and robotic in some instances, but as I mentioned earlier, the stories and ideas presented are so engaging and interesting that I honestly couldn't give a shit about it. And if anything, I'm just really happy to see an anime that is really pushing the boundaries in terms of interesting sci-fi concepts, which we rarely ever see in the medium of anime. At the end of it all, this is the kind of anime that I wish to see so much more of, and I think is, for more of the better words, the right answer in terms of trying to solve the apparent 3D anime problem, which day by day grows more concern than praise within the community. I can honestly say that there are so little anime, especially in the last couple of years or so, that have been this thought-provoking and engaging for me. Look, I'm not gonna say that this anime will change your life at all, but I think it's certainly a series that deserves a lot more discussion and criticism. And I love how especially this currently airing season of anime has kind of taken the initiative to do the same kind of thing with other series like Recreators, but that's another story for another day. All in all, I think this is a series that everybody needs to at least give a go. I mean, sure, if you can't absolutely stand the sight of 3D CG in your anime, then I completely understand why you might hate this. And I certainly won't force you to enjoy the show in any way. But it just still blows my mind that even though so many people are saying how good it is on social media and in forum posts, I haven't seen a whole lot of videos about it. Maybe enough for me to count on a single hand. Mind you, at this point, I haven't seen all the episodes yet, as it is still airing, and I am a little bit behind in terms of keeping up with the current episode number. So my overall thoughts on the show may change depending on how the anime decides to close off the story at the end of the 12 episodes it has. But in terms of interesting concepts and well thought out and executed presentation, this is one of the top ones out there in the recent years of anime. Hopefully I didn't give too many spoilers away in this video, so let me know in the comments below, of course, without giving spoilers. Let me know what you think about the anime, why you're liking it or you're disliking it, and give me your thoughts on the whole uncertain future of using 3D visuals and CG in anime. And hey, if you want to be part of the discussion and want to see what the whole hype is all about, then why not go check out the series itself. It's airing on Crunchyroll. You can use my link, crunchyroll.com/animeman, to get a free trial of Crunchyroll's premium membership. It helps the industry out, it helps you to find some awesome anime, and it helps a brother out. And if you like to see more anime being discussed in this kind of more serious review type ways, then I suggest checking out my seasonal anime roundup series, where I do more short and concise reviews on all the anime that I watched in a particular season. So you just pick a season of anime and go on. And as I said, I will be giving my kind of final overall thoughts on the series once it's finished in the upcoming seasonal roundup, which I am making. I'm not going to be late to it this time. hopefully. But all the links to that are in the description below, and I just hope that with this video that more people will start talking about Kado and more people will start talking about how fucking good it is so far. I just really hope they don't fuck it up in the end. Please, Toei, don't fail me now. Anyway,